sorted like a pack of some more observations are important, like the fact that we're bored of fake shit. More creative, have the floor, so take it. Travel to the door is a normal placement. Tattoos on my arm in a form of face.
So whenever I need something to get me started, get me going in a hurry, I'll oftentimes go to Twitter, and I'll go to this guy named Dinesh D'Souza. Now, I don't know why this guy is important in any way. I have no idea why anybody listens to him. He's a Fox News maven. He's on there all the time. He's a real big, climate change is a hoax guy. And that is to say he's a moron. Okay? So I can always count on him to say some of the stupidest shit humanly possible. And he gave me one yesterday that I just had to talk about. It says here, Dinesh D'Souza says this on Twitter. Remember nuclear winter? Of course you don't. That's because it didn't happen. It was all the rage on the left in the 1980s. A generation from now, no one will recall climate change either, and for the same reason. The apocalypse has become a political racket. Guys, of all the stupid shit anybody can say in humanity, using the lack of nuclear winter as evidence that there's no climate change going on in the atmosphere may be the dumbest thing you can possibly say. Like, it was so stupid. Like, my brain stopped for a minute and had to reset, kind of like a blue screen on Microsoft or Windows, and come back up so I can make sure that he said what I thought he said.
Right. Now imagine you're a regular listener to that sort of thing, that sort of broadcast, right? Your brain is essentially on a continuous boot loop.
You're constantly rebooting, trying to figure out, is Dinesh D'Souza doing a parody of a fucking moron, or are you just a fucking moron? Well, we'll answer that question and others on Tattoo with Children, which is what you're listening to. You're listening to Tattoo with Children. I am your host, Flavor Ray in Seat A. Across from me in Seat B, in a lovely black spot T-shirt, is the Dread Pirate Benjamin. Across from us both is the man with most of the answers to life's questions, CIO No Pain. It's a lovely morning, guys. Lovely Monday.
I kind of am in the mood for barbecue now.
You know, yeah, I am too. We just heard that we might be getting a barbecue restaurant in town, so I'm looking forward to that. Because we don't have a great one in our town, Lufkin, Texas. I know people who aren't in Texas, and some of our listeners are in Canada, and some are over in Germany. Some of you guys are in parts unknown. And you think Texas is kind of monolithic. It's not. It's a huge state, and different shit goes on in different parts of it. And some parts of Texas have the best barbecue on the planet, and some parts get none.
Right.
We're in the part that gets none.
Well, and like you made the comment when we were talking to the gentleman earlier, we have a plethora of pitmasters in our county.
Indeed.
But when you want it now.
Uh-huh.
And so now I'm just sitting here like, was there really no one making a brisket all weekend that I can buy right now?
I mean, literally, like, my dad's a pitmaster. And so I talked to him this weekend and said, hey, man, Thanksgiving coming up. You know, everyone is doing turkey.
Right.
How about we do barbecue?
Right.
And he just gave me the runaround. Well, you know, your sister thinks she might do something. My sister has never eaten before 5 o'clock in her life. So there's no fucking way we're doing Thanksgiving at her house. So, well, your mother might be doing, God damn it, just do some fucking barbecue, Dad. All right, I'll see what I can do. You know, it's like, it's pulling teeth. You're a pit master.
Right.
Do your thing. Don't you love to do this shit?
Yeah, but the problem is it's actual work. That's what that's why people don't realize about like barbecue as a business.
Yeah.
Right? In other words, if you're going to eat barbecue that is actually good on Wednesday, you got to be working right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, like
today's Monday.
Right. And it's you got to go.
You got to be preparing the brisket right now because you're literally going to spend all of Tuesday making it. And I mean all of Tuesday. I mean the entirety of the day and probably a good portion of the night is going to be making barbecue to eat the day next.
Yeah.
So as a business, it's really, really labor intensive.
Yeah, it's one of those that just doesn't. You know, some people are like, I get off at 5. Yeah, man, when you cook barbecue, you don't get off.
Yeah.
You're on all the time.
You do like an 18-hour shift if you're a pitmaster, and so like it's real tough to make money if you're trying to do a cost to time benefit analysis. Like I know Mike likes to do. If you ran those numbers and decide to adhere to them strictly, there would not be barbecue restaurants. Nobody would ever do it.
And the process of scaling something like that is almost insurmountable. I'm gonna talk about barriers to scale at some point, and in barbecue, the huge barrier to scale is just simply how much work is involved, and not really a good way to decrease that amount of work. Like, you've got to do it. The only way to do it is more people.
Well, I mean, a lot of people try and cut it down. Like, instead of making, their own house-made sausage, they'll go out and get Eckert's, Eckerich, or they'll use meat from 2 days ago instead of the day before. You know what I mean? It's like there's all, or they'll, like, one of the big things that people fuck up in barbecue restaurants is they'll make a brisket and then they'll slice it, pre-slice it. Put it under a warming tray. Like, I don't care how good the brisket was when you cooked it, after you slice it, it starts to go downhill immediately.
Yep.
You put it under some warming lights, and it's going downhill much, much quicker. And so by the time your customer gets it, it's literally turned into shit. Just sliced shit. So most great barbecue restaurants will refuse to slice their brisket until a customer orders it.
That's correct.
That's the way it should be done. In fact, if you've never been to a barbecue restaurant, go to the restaurant, order the brisket, and they should ask you, do you want it lean or marbled? That's two different parts of the brisket. They're asking you, do you want the flat or the point? Depending on how you eat your brisket, if you want it to be really juicy and flavorful, then you're going to want the point. Mm-hmm. If you like it lean and springy and get that good texture, then you want the flat.
Right.
You want to mix, they'll get you mixed. And they can get you anything you ask for because they're going to slice that brisket right for you. Mm-hmm. And you say, well, I don't want to trouble them to break out a fresh. They don't mind that at all.
Right.
Okay? Like, I've been to many barbecue restaurants where all they had left was a flat. I want the point, no question about it. They go back to the back, grab a fresh brisket, slice that bitch up just for me.
Right.
Because that's what they do.
Right.
Any restaurant that does that, you're in a place that knows what they're doing. If they don't do that, you're in a place that is trying to cut cost because of what Mike just said, that barrier to scaling, that barrier to profit.
Right.
And so all that to say is that we don't have that great barbecue restaurant in town, but there's a reason for it. I'm not shitting on my town when I say that, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm saying that that's a difficult business, and I just talked to a guy who seems like he's ready to take it on, and so that's got me kind of excited.
Well, it's got me kind of hungry.
Yeah.
I'm not even, you guys are all like, the business. I'm like, but do you have some brisket like on you? Like, you have some in your car?
Just take it out of your pocket and hand it to me.
I'll be fine. Just run back home and just put some brisket and cut it up for me and put it on a sandwich.
I mean,
by the way, can we talk about that Popeye sandwich? Because I've also been thinking about that.
See, this was a segue into the sandwich. You're correct. Okay, I'm talking about food because I did that thing. What I did was I saw a food product that was a craze. Okay. And I said, I'm not going to jump on the craze. I'm not going to be a sheep.
Right.
And so I saw people are in line for this fucking thing. They're waiting 2 hours. They're getting fucking stabbed in line over this chicken sandwich.
Right.
I'm like, it's not that serious. It's just a chicken sandwich.
Right.
And so I waited, until the craze died down where I live. And I waited until there were nobody in line. No one's after the sandwich right now because it's all the kids just getting out of school. Everybody's in some different shit. Mm-hmm. I just walk in like, hey, casually.
Right.
I'll take a couple of those chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
And they're like, here they come.
Yeah.
And they brought out 2 chicken sandwiches. I bought 3 chicken sandwiches. I bought one for me. I bought one for Ben. Mm-hmm. Mike was here, but I didn't want to feed Mike. Right. And so I didn't. I just saved that sandwich for my wife so I wouldn't get into trouble.
Right. Probably a good choice.
It was the best choice.
Yeah.
And I got the spicy. Ben got the regular. Mm-hmm. And I took one bite of that sandwich, and my first thought was, I would fight any motherfucker in the world for this sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, I would scrap for this sandwich.
Yeah. Well, what kind of the test for me, because I'm a real, unlike you and Mike, I don't actually give a fuck how it was made. I don't care about the ingredients.
Just so long as there weren't 50 hands that he had to lick.
As long as he can't taste the fingers in it.
But here's the thing: I just want it to taste good.
Right.
In other words, I know food for me is comfort.
Yeah.
And so I want to feel better.
Right.
And so you were sitting there asking me, like, I took a bite, and you were like, what do you think of it? And I took another bite, and you were like, what do you think of it? And I took another bite, and I was like, I wish this motherfucker would stop talking to me while I'm enjoying myself.
That is the absolute thing that happened. Because I'm biting it, and I'm analyzing every bite. I'm like, oh, man, the bread and the...
Yeah,
and I was having
a moment.
Spreadsheets out,
and I'm just like, nom, 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 nom. I just nom, nom. This is my comfort moment of the day. I get 60 seconds right here, and I feel completely at home and good. Jesus is with me. I'm breathing in and out. I'm standing upright. Everything's going right for me in this moment, except people keep talking to me.
Right. So, like, the big thing about this sandwich, of course, is it was a de facto challenge to Chick-fil-A just on social media, but it actually turned into kind of a real thing because they're actually using the same supplier. So it's the same chicken breast supplier, and they're doing the chicken sandwich two different ways. And the way that Popeyes is doing it, I think personally, was designed to fuck with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I mean, it's basically they took the Chick-fil-A sandwich and said, what do you not like about it? They said, well, it's a pretty good sandwich, but I don't like this, this, and this. So, okay, we're just going to improve those three things, do everything else the same. And Chick-fil-A is good. It is. But I haven't had Chick-fil-A in 4 years because I'm allergic to their sandwich. It makes me sick.
Right.
This Popeye sandwich, I ate it, immediately felt ill because I'm allergic to it. And immediately wanted another one. Like, I've been having to talk myself out of not going back and get another one because it makes me sick.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is I was driving around the other night thinking about what I wanted to eat, and I drove by a couple places I normally eat, and I was like, I really don't want to eat any of this shit. But because I'm not used to going to Popeyes, I didn't go there.
Right.
And it didn't come into my mind. And now I'm sitting here on Monday morning thinking, man, I would have felt so much better right now if I'd just gone to Popeyes and got me one of them damn sandwiches.
Yeah.
And that's and the funny thing about that is that that's actually, to me, when you have something, is when your experience with the food was not I wish it would have tasted better, I wish it would have been hotter, I wish it would have been colder. Your experience with the food is, I just wish I had another one.
Right. Like, I felt the same way after my first Whataburger's honey chicken biscuit.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of those things where I tasted it the first time and it was like, all I want right now is another one of these.
Right.
Let's go like get 6.
Right, yeah.
I mean, those food products like that are hard to come by. Even though they happen in fast food restaurants, you don't expect it to be like, oh, this tastes like my grandmother's love. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Well,
and the great thing about Whataburger's honey butter chicken biscuit is that it, again, where else right now, today, on Monday, where else are you going to go get those old-time cat head biscuits with the honey and the butter? Now, whether or not it has chicken on it or not is not my thing.
Right.
But what my thing is I don't know of anywhere to go right now. I mean, I could, now that I'm thinking about it, I could probably go to Cracker Barrel. But I'm going to be real with you. I hadn't been to Cracker Barrel.
Do you know how hard it is to get into Cracker Barrel to get one thing? Like, I mean, like, you go to Cracker Barrel, one, you got a line out the door, and so you got to wait to be seated. And you got a store. You have to walk through a store to just get to the restaurant that's in the back of Cracker Barrel. Like, it's a big hassle.
See, I refuse to go to Cracker Barrel anymore.
Why?
Absolutely refuse. Because every single time we go there, me and the family, it's been like, oh, let's go there and let's get this one thing, right? And we go and sit down, we get the one thing, and it's increasingly more disappointing every single time we go. Like, I get that there's good stuff, but it doesn't hold up over time. Whereas the honey butter chicken biscuit, the chicken sandwiches, the barbecue, it holds up over time.
Yeah. That's a big
that's
thing.
a good point.
That's a big thing for me. Is just like, I don't know if it's customer service or I don't know if it's the way the food tastes, but like I definitely feel like from my perspective that the honey butter chicken biscuit has never disappointed me.
Right.
The Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich has never disappointed me. You know, I've never gotten one and been like, yeah, I probably won't do this again. Mm-hmm. Now that is not true for, say, a Big Mac. You know what I mean? Like I have a Big Mac and I'm like, I regret my existence, you know.
And that's not the same. Like McDonald's will do that for you on their primary product, which to me is chicken nuggets. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know who goes to McDonald's for hamburgers, but they're making mistakes. Right. You know, in life. Yeah. That's not the way you live your life. You don't go to McDonald's for hamburgers. Right. But do go there for the chicken nuggets and the fries. And sometimes they'll fuck up the fries. Yeah. Like, why haven't you burned down the building if you're going to do this? Right. Like, just end it all.
Yeah, I actually tweeted McDonald's the other day because I waited like 14 damn minutes for a double quarter pounder. You know what I mean?
Which they have like 80 of.
Right. And I was just like, I'm literally sitting at like the third. And that's another thing I don't understand. And I know we're about to come to a break, but what is it with fast food restaurants and adding more windows? They're like, can you go to window 7?
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I think it's because I think it's speed of service for starters, but only during lunch. See, that's the weird thing. Like, they'll make you do it when there's nobody in line. Yeah. It's like, no, this is how we do it now.
Right, and it's like, I'm not going to the 7th. My dad actually got into a fight about that. He was like, nah, I'm good here. And they were like, no, we need you to pull up to the next window. He's like, I've already been to 3 windows. I'm not leaving. I'm at this window.
That is so your dad. That is so your dad. Like, Ben's dad is definitely that guy that's like, you know what? I pay my money here. I get my food here. Right. And that's how it's going to be. All right, we're going to talk more about some other stuff soon we get back up to the break, guys.
Doesn't matter if you're cool or honest, if the coin is all present, better lose a box. Doesn't matter if you're cool or honest, if the coin is all present, better lose a box.
All right, guys, we're back with Tattoo with Children. We were just talking about food again because I'm the host, and food is what I love to talk about. But to segue into a different subject I love to talk about is football. And the reason I want to talk about football is because I mentioned on a previous podcast that the Falcons were underperforming, even though they were overperforming on offense or underperforming on defense. Yeah, like we kind of went into a little bit of that. And this weekend, they just shut my noise down because they went after the Saints like a dog going after a rabbit and ripped their goddamn heads off.
Who won that game?
That game was won by the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
They won it handily. Yeah. They beat them in all 3 phases. It was a very impressive victory because it was won on their defense playing their guts out. Like, for example, on one play, they had this they got this little cornerback. I cannot remember his name. I've got to look it up again. But he was going against the Saints' biggest running back, and the guy had got upfield on him, and so it was just him and it was the running back and the cornerback, the only people on the field as far as this play was concerned. And the cornerback literally just put his shoulder into the guy's hip, which is his strongest point, and you saw immediately this guy's shoulder dislocate completely. Like, it came completely out of his shoulder pad and is hanging limp by the side of his body. Yeah. And he made the fucking tackle. Nice. That's how the Falcons were playing yesterday. Like, they were playing as if their lives were on the line and they were not going to lose. So I just wanted to shout out the Falcons because I believe, personally, me, being a football fan, that they heard my podcast and decided to make me proud. Okay. It was 1-7 versus 7-1 in the division. And they won by big points.
You know, you don't think it'd be like that, but it do.
I love it. That's why I love fucking football, man. I can't give it up. I can't give up the NFL no matter how fucking socially inept the NFL is a lot of the times, no matter how money hungry they can be, no matter how tone deaf the NFL can be sometimes to things like, women's rights, men's rights, sexual assaults, what have you. They've pretty much been on the wrong side of every issue at one point or another.
Right.
I still can't give it up because these guys that play football, they don't play it the way that other people play other sports. Like, you're not going to see a baseball player these days just completely sell out his arm to go for anything. Mm-hmm. He's going to save that arm to make his big payday on his next team. Whereas in football, if they know if they lose this Sunday, it could be their last goddamn game.
Right.
No matter how big they are,
right,
it could be the last game. And so if it's going to be my last game, it's going to be a fucking win.
Yeah.
I just love that. It thrills me in a very deep way because that's how I think that I would approach life. Like
what do you feel
the
like,
last day?
What do you feel like is holding you back though from approaching life that way on the regular?
What holds me back from approaching life that way on a regular is old habits, I would say.
Okay.
Like it's not that I don't play hard, that don't work hard. Mm-hmm. But I've gotten into this mindset of, well, if I die here, mm-hmm. then who's going to, fix dinner for the kids? Mm-hmm. If I die here, who's gonna take my daughter to piano practice? I take myself out of those moments thinking about the future or thinking about the consequence, rather than thinking about the fact is, well, it's time to fucking live, Whereas if you put all of your effort into the thing that you're doing directly, the thing you're doing in that moment, then you will have success and you'll have a better future. Like, that's just a better way of approaching life, in my opinion. And it's something that I strive for. It's a big portion of the reason why I love doing this podcast. I can take this time now to just put all of my effort into this mic, and somebody can hear it or somebody won't hear it. But while I'm here, I'm putting everything into it, and so I'm living. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. There are other things that we could be doing. You could be doing, I could be doing, Mike could be doing. There are other things that the people who are listening to this podcast could be doing. But if we're all here together in this moment and doing our utmost in this moment to engage with one another, I think this is the best thing we could be doing right now. Mike? No thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree that we've got to, you'll hear Pirate Benson a lot. We got to put the work in, Mm-hmm. And so if you spend all your time not here, then and somewhere else, you're in the future, you're in the past, you're not in the present moment, it gets increasingly harder to put that work in and get the things done. So yeah, absolutely. The combination of living in the present moment and recognizing that, hey, it's just time to go to work, not time to talk about it anymore, is I think one of the most important realizations anyone can come to in their life.
And it's time to stop giving opinions about shit.
Fuck you about that.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that's really kind of a fuck up for all of us in general, is that not only are we always giving our opinions. I'm not talking about on the podcast. On the podcast, this is what I'm supposed to give my opinion on the podcast. So I mean, like, after the podcast or before the podcast, I'm giving my opinion on, Facebook or Twitter, or I'm making judgments about how other people are posting or making judgments about how other people are living. I think those take us out of that moment too.
Does that count for me making posts about John Stamos acting as a Frenchman auditioning for the role as Lumiere and the live action little Beauty and the Beast coming up?
I didn't know that John Stamos was doing that.
Oh, God, you guys missed a wonderful thing.
I don't think I
you guys watch football? I watched Disney's The Little Mermaid live, and I live tweet about it.
I did see some of those live tweets, and I did not know what the hell you were talking about.
John Stamos played the French chef in The Little Mermaid live.
Okay.
And he was the second best actor in the entire thing.
So The Little Mermaid live, this is a play that we're talking about here?
Basically, it's a play. They mixed the movie, like showing parts of the movie, with live action of the songs. So actors were doing the songs in costume, and they would play the in-between bits of the movie as they go. So John Stamos was involved, and he played the chef. Queen Latifah played Ursula, the villain in the movie.
I like Queen Latifah as Ursula.
She was fucking amazing.
Yeah, that made sense.
She by herself saved the entire program.
Nice. I love. In fact, I love anything that involves Queen Latifah in general. Ever since I saw her on the big screen in Set It Off, I've been a huge fan of her acting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What was that one film she played in with Steve Martin?
Oh, that was the one where she was a house sitter. Is that what it was?
Maybe.
Or she was. It was one of those interracial, intersex buddy comedy movies.
Bringing Down the House.
That was a great movie.
Yeah.
I don't really care if you guys didn't watch it, but it was a great fucking film.
I saw it.
I watched it 4 or 5 times.
I didn't watch it that many times, but I did
because I like Queen Latifah. I mean, like she like so raw, like and like you don't ever get the feeling she's acting. You get the feeling like it's Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love actors like that, you know.
But she plays really good characters. I remember her performance in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That dude, her as Mama in Chicago. Mm-hmm. That'll blow your goddamn mind. You know, just her opening number is enough to sell the whole goddamn movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, praise Queen Latifah. But all that to say, you know. When I was going into things that take us out of the moment of living, and one of the things that have been on my mind the most has been people's opinions, because I'm getting a lot of opinions about the podcast, which I don't mind.
Well, we asked for them.
Yeah, like that. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But reading those opinions leads me to reading other opinions, and you know, while I can use help from you, the listener, to improve the podcast, a lot of people do not need help from anyone to improve what they're doing online or in life in general. But I think we all need help in not concentrating on what other people are doing. Like, we're so focused a lot of the time on what John did or Fred's doing or what Sarah said about what Amy's doing, that we forget to do things in our own lives because we're just so caught up in our own and on other people's opinions. And I think it's a big problem with more consequences than we let on, because we're so addicted to it.
Well, let's just use this past few minutes of the podcast.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so you've talked about something that I honestly don't give 2 shits about.
Uh-huh.
Mike mentioned
Little Mermaid.
I was listening. Yeah, thank you. Little Mermaid.
Yeah, he was listening.
Okay.
He just illustrated how much he does not care.
But here's the amazing thing about it. You notice I didn't chime in.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm mad at y'all.
Yeah.
It's not that I disagree with you.
Uh-huh.
Okay? I literally do not have an opinion about The Little Mermaid.
And you would notice, guys, that I did not ask Ben at any point to chime in.
Yeah, because,
like I turned to Mike because Mike's interested. I know Ben's not.
You looked at my face and you knew not that I don't like it.
Right.
You knew that I don't have an opinion about it.
Yeah, there was no conversation we had there, so I didn't go for it.
Why? And so, but this is interesting because if we have guests on the podcast, a lot of times people will chime in and give their opinion.
Right.
Okay. Like, well, here's my opinion on The Little Mermaid, Fred. Okay. First of all, why am I required to have an opinion?
Right.
In other words, I don't think about The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid literally operates no space in my computer.
Right.
And I'm not mad about it that it does for y'all, but why would I chime in? Why would I make up something? Why would I make up something to say about something that hasn't entered my consciousness?
Yeah, I mean, if there's no reason.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe there is a reason.
Well, but
I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, but if we got 100 people in here, they would all have an opinion, and I doubt very seriously anyone would say what I just said, which is, it's perfectly fine for you and Mike to talk about it. I literally do not have an opinion.
Well, the thing about it is, I wouldn't know about The Little Mermaid Live if Mike hadn't told me. Because no one that I talk to ever has mentioned it. Even though it's a thing that involves some fairly big names, John Stamos, at least or fairly big names in my generation, John Stamos, Queen Latifah. And I talk to people my own age. No one's mentioned that this happened,
Okay.
And so it's one of those things that I know it doesn't affect me. The Little Mermaid Live doesn't affect my life in any way, shape, or form. So I don't really have an opinion on what happened to it or what didn't happen to it. But I do respect a lot of the people involved, and so I'm willing to learn about it. I guess that's what I get out of a conversation. Is like, well, I don't really care about the subject that you just brought up per se.
Yeah.
But this is a conversation, and so I'm going to get something out of it. I'll go look that shit up and see what it's about.
Okay, but that's very different than in other words, what would normally happen there is, my opinion of The Little Mermaid is that it doesn't matter. See, I don't think what you did was have an opinion. I think what you did was interact with Mike on a conversational level.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
You didn't. But see, that's the difference between what's happening a lot now.
Okay.
A lot of people will say, hey, could you interact with me about the Popeyes chicken sandwich? And instead of holding a conversation with you, what someone will say is, well, I don't go to, my opinion is I don't go to Popeyes.
I don't eat fast food. It's
or
bad for you.
What I ran into, because my question was, because I was interested in the debate. Mm-hmm. Once I had, look, the question to me of whether or not the Popeyes chicken sandwich is better than Chick-fil-A was not a question. Mm-hmm. Like in my mind, there isn't an opinion that the chicken sandwich Chick-fil-A is better than Popeyes. That is valid. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
And so I wasn't asking that opinion. I was like, what is your take on the debate between going to Popeyes and going to Chick-fil-A? Because I think there's still a debate to be had there. Mm-hmm. Is it a either or thing, or is this just a social media thing? Was it marketing? I had a lot of those kind of questions. Mm-hmm. And what I kept getting was, well, I don't go to Chick-fil-A because of their stance, of religion.
I don't hate the gays.
Because I hate the gays, or because of the religious dogma. And, I got a lot of that, and my response was okay. And that's really not a position of conversation.
The conversational position would have been, hey, I like the idea of the Popeyes chicken because it gives me an alternative against Chick-fil-A, which I have personal opinions against, right? That opens up a conversation where you can understand someone's opinion, whereas someone's opinion's being used as a barricade to conversation.
Exactly. To saying that, well, Chick-fil-A supports the anti-gay agenda, and therefore I don't go there. Well, now to talk about Chick-fil-A, I have to first talk about the anti-gay agenda, which is something that you brought up.
Yeah.
It's something that's in your opinion, and that makes the conversation too cumbersome to enter into. So it just kind of stops it.
Okay, as we take a short break, because my mind is now hearing replays of Cumbersome from 11 Mary 3 from 1996, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll come back to opinions.
And we're back with Tattoo with Children. If you're wondering why Pirate Ben seemed distracted in the last segment, it's because he has been exploring a new social media phenomenon, which, look, I don't preach against social media. I believe in social media. I think social media is great, everything except for Facebook. But he is now experimenting with TikTok. And so while we were doing that whole thing with Little Mermaid, he was actually taking video of us to cut it and put it up on his new TikTok account. And he's fascinated by it because he's having an extraordinary reach that, quite honestly, none of us have ever enjoyed on any platform. Yeah. Even I'm a little stunned by it. Yeah. I'm going to have to get on TikTok myself, apparently. Ben, tell me what I got to do here. What's the deal?
Well, the first thing you have to do is download the app and then open it, because there's lots of buttons.
That sounds like work already.
You're right. It does. No, it is. There's lots of buttons, and there's like a crazy amount of like things you can do with it. Okay, so like you can make your video run backwards.
Oh yeah.
You can speed up the voice of your video, but not the video of your video.
So the audio would speed up, but the video itself would be in the same
time. So it's really like this super, like, I would say, sophisticated video app, and everybody's using it. Like, the thing that I kind of like about it so far is, like, I've seen like hip hop artists using it. I've seen cops using it. I've seen firefighters using it. Like, there's one guy that's going around like following a fire truck. Like, he just makes a film of a fire truck every day. And he's like, oh, yeah, son, get it done every day.
See, okay, I'm laughing at the description of the video, so I know I should probably look at this.
Yeah, and then like Sarah and I were watching one last night where it was just this dude trying to plug. You know how when like you have that plug beside your couch that you can't reach?
That you can't quite reach, yeah.
Right, and so he can't reach the plug and he can't see it, but he set his phone up. He knows it like irritates him. So then he like, you can just see his finger like touching the plug, and then he tries to put the thing in, but he still can't, and so then he like touches it again, and he like tries to stick it in again. He's like trying to stick basically his cell phone charger into the drywall.
Right,
you know, and then finally you see his face, and he is pissed as fuck, and he's just like, God fucking damn it, all the fucking thing in there. And so, like, it's hilarious. Like, and then you can put music to it. You can put you can put soundtrack stuff to it. You can put like noises to it. You can put stickers on it. I don't know, man. I understand why the kids are using it now, because like it's sophisticated, but it's also fun.
Right.
But then, so I put up I had a couple clips of like me tattooing, and I was just like, I'll throw these up here. And like 2,000 people watched the video in like an hour.
That's incredible.
I don't think I've had 2,000 people watch a video of me like stabbing people like on Instagram or Facebook like the whole damn time. I've been doing this 6 years.
Now, how do they find it? Is it hashtagged, or how did you expose?
I mean, you can hashtag it, but one of the things that I assume, and I could be wrong, but one of the things that I assume is it's more real time. So they haven't put an algorithm on it yet.
Okay.
So if you just happen to post when there are more people watching,
then they'll just see it in
then
their
they'll
feed.
just naturally see it in their feed, and they'll be like, well, that's dope.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, that kind of organic reach only happens in the beginning of a platform. So, yeah, this is the great time to get on the TikTok.
Yeah, because Facebook's going to buy it in like 12 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and we're going to buy it and probably kill it, you know, in favor of Instagram something. The interesting thing about that, what you just described, is to me was the demographics that are involved. You said, you know, you got the rappers are on it. I know Will Smith has been big on it. What's her face? What's her name? America's Sweetheart, the blonde chick. Yeah. She was on it with her son doing some crazy white girl dancing.
Oh, one of the favorite things they do. So the big thing on it too is memes. So they're making these memes where like what you do is you wait till your significant other is unsuspecting, and then you take an empty glass and you take whatever you're drinking and you just keep pouring it till it goes all over the floor, or all over the car, as the case may be. And this I would say maybe young teen, right? Black dude, his dad's cooking behind him. So he takes the orange juice and he just starts pouring it into the empty cup, and then it gets fuller and fuller and fuller, and his dad's behind him at the stove cooking.
Right.
And it reminded me of you. You know, you're just back there at the, cooking, not paying any attention.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you hear the orange juice spilling on the tile floor.
Hitting the floor, like, what is that noise?
Right. And so, like, the dad's head moves a little bit, but he doesn't look around because it's his teenager in the kitchen, so he doesn't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he keeps hearing the splashing. As his head is turning, right, the belt is unbuckling and coming off.
He's about to beat the shit out of this kid.
He hadn't even seen what's happening yet. And I'm like, dude, if you were born between 1975 and 1985, that fucking happened to you.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
For sure.
Like that, you remember that moment where your little sibling or your friend from the neighborhood was over and like the kid didn't see what was coming, but you saw your dad's hand go to his belt.
And you went, oh, no.
You know you had a skilled parent, right? When you didn't even know that the hand had reached the belt yet.
It was
one smooth motion. Okay, if anybody's ever worn a belt before, right? You know how difficult it is
to get that thing off.
To take it off, right?
Right.
But these parents, these dads, they had one smooth motion. The whole thing was unbuckled. The belt just slid right out of those loops.
Yeah.
And it made this sound.
It cracked like a whip.
Yeah.
It made this horrible sound that's sliding through the belt loops.
It was so bad you had PTSD from watching Indiana Jones.
I think that's why we're all so comfortable with the concept of death. Is because at a very young age we knew that belt sound.
And we knew it was coming. It's inevitable. And like by the time you heard it, the bullet's out the chamber. It's coming at you. You have no time to dodge.
On that video, you may have witnessed the birth of a new meme, right?
Right.
Everyone should be recording videos of practicing that smooth motion and getting your belt to crack like a whip, right? If you plan on being a parent someday, you need to get this down.
Right. Well,
we don't beat our kids these days.
No, it's not for beating your kids. No. The entire psychological warfare of just that belt whip cracking, okay, is enough. You don't need to actually physically use it on your child.
It was like, to me, it was the physical. Like I got the shit beat out of me for most of my life. So yeah, it was.
The belt. I've always liked the belt as far as what's happened to me, not as far as what I've done to others. The belt was always better than the spoon. The wooden spoon. Did you ever get the wooden spoon?
I didn't get the wooden spoon, but what I got was maybe it's a black equivalent to wooden spoon. It was the comb.
Okay.
A lot of, like, anybody black listens to this, they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know, you get that wide tooth comb, and it had this. The weird thing about it was it had holes in it, but the holes somehow grabbed your flesh and pulled.
Right.
So it hurt in a way I can't really describe. It wasn't worse than a belt.
Right.
But it was psychologically worse than the belt.
Yeah. Now, for the spoon, the problem with the spoon was I felt like the spoon hurt more. But it would break halfway through.
Okay.
So then your parent would have to go get another spoon.
You got to go get another spoon.
Right. And so it was like twice as long. Like, I just prefer the belt because the belt would like get the job done the first time.
Right.
And as a kid, you're like, can we get this over with?
Do we
it hurts. And I'm
another
crying,
10 minutes to
but
do this?
Can we just go? Like, is this a thing? You know what I mean? Like,
because see, that's the thing about spankings. As soon as they're done, like all the anger is gone, all the punishment is meted out.
Right.
There's no more, the jury has delivered, gave your sentence, and you served your term. You're done.
And your dad isn't like mad at you for the rest of the day.
Yeah, he's good.
Like, he's fine, and I'm not saying like I got that many, but I was the firstborn. I got a few. Right. And like, it was just like, it was fine afterwards.
Like, I didn't get as many as my sister did.
Yeah.
She honestly, she got her ass beat every day. Like, I took probably, maybe of the course of my adolescence, I probably got beaten 15 to 20 times. Like, that was nothing. Like, my sister got beat like 300 times.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is it's funny talking about this because people will say like, oh my God, you had such a traumatic childhood. I really didn't.
No, it was great, actually.
Like, I did something bad. I judge, jury, executioner, done, over. I can't sit down at the kitchen table for the next 30 minutes, so I guess I'm going to walk around in the yard.
I honestly felt really bad for my friends, like my whiter friends that had groundings, where they get in trouble and they'll be like in trouble for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
I'm like, shit, we only did one thing. You got 3 days of this shit? Like, I would just go home and get knocked into a wall, and it's over. It's done. It's like, okay, it's harsh. I'm crying, but it's over. Next day, I can come out and play again. And
right. Well, see, the thing is, in the whiter families with the groundings and all that, they needed to replace the holes in the wall with measuring your height, right? Because there was now nothing to to measure where you're. Oh yeah, see this giant dent in the wall. That's when I was 4.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Now this one's a little bit higher and a little bit bigger because my skull grew that year.
Yeah, kick that motherfucker to him. I'm down with the TikTok. To me, it seemed like a thing that I missed, and the thing that I missed was Vine.
Okay,
I'm a real big.
Okay, but
I was
you
a big Vine guy.
used Vine. I didn't.
Yeah. Like it was like I was really sad when Vine went away, just because it was an outlet for creativity for a lot of creatives that didn't have an outlet before, and so I was really thrilled at the idea of TikTok being a thing. Anyway, I've been standoffish because I'm always standoffish about things that are for the children, not because I'm against the thing. Mm-hmm. It's that I feel like I'm old.
Okay. And
so I don't want to steal their thunder. Like, say if the kids are having a fun time with it, they don't need, a boomer going in there and hey guys, I'm down with the TikTok too, and fucking up their shit. But if Ben is correct in this, and this is a real democratized type platform, I'll get down with it. I'll get into it.
Well, I think it just goes back to this idea of how you use a thing or why you're using a thing, or are you trying to create new content with it? And one of the things that I find the best about social media, and the frustrating thing, is that people are trying to create different content to make their lives look different than they are.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Whereas for me, it's really more just to document what my life is.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing that I got from Gary Vee.
That's a Gary Vee thing.
Yeah, I was real negative towards social media until Gary said, document, don't create.
Right.
In other words, and I think it helped me in business too, is like, guys, slow down. Like, this is your life. Like, you can't create. I mean, you could, if that's what you want to do. Like,
sure.
If you want to take off work for the next week and create a bunch of content and try to find something that goes viral, that is more than, that's fine.
Right. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. But I just don't want to do that. All I want to do is document what my life actually looks like, and then let it be. Let it sit there so you can see, like, hey, this is what this guy does. You want to be a tattoo artist? Hey, look, you want to be married for 22 years? Hey, look, you want to have a mohawk and see what effect it has on people? Hey, look. It's just, I'm just doing what I do. There's no difference. If you look at my TikTok, you look at my Instagram, you look at my Facebook, what is on those platforms is just what Monday looks like.
Right. Yeah, like Ben does do that. I don't do that. I do and I don't. Like, I document parts, but I very rarely show the entire thing.
Yeah.
Partially because to protect the innocent. I don't want people going to my kids or my mother and saying, look what your asshole son did on social media.
Okay.
Because I can be a bit of a dick on social media sometimes.
Yeah.
It's not because I have bad opinions or because I like hurting people. It's just my personality. And it's like my mother wouldn't be shocked, but it's just a house that she doesn't need. And so I tend to just like compartmentalize my exposure on social media. Whereas Ben tends to just hang his dick out there, whatever it is.
Not literally my
dick. Not his actual dick, people. That was a metaphor.
Yeah.
No one can see Ben's penis on social media.
But you can look.
Except that one time. But, we're not going to talk. Right. But anyway, you get all that to say, guys, we're probably going to be doing a Tattoo with Children TikTok. As he's talking about it, I'm actually having ideas about things that I kind of want you guys to be able to see. And if the reach is can be replicated the way that Ben described it, then that's kind of the perfect platform. So there will be some big. There was things in the pipe already, but I'm going to put this in the pipe too. And since it's all about downloading an app, it'll probably be in the pipe pretty quick. I'll probably be doing some videos. So look forward to that. You are Mike. You are already on the TikTok. Do you want to tell what your handle is?
My handle is. Let me find it here real quick. My handle is at Pain Points, just all one word. I lost the dot in that one. At Pain Points, BAYNE points.
And Ben?
black.crow.hokage.
All right. And not to be left out, I will put mine up on the next podcast so you guys know where to find it, but I have to create it first. This is something that just happened. As far as I'm concerned, TikTok just happened this morning.
Yeah, and it kind of happened over this podcast. I mean, I mentioned it before we came in, but it was kind of a thing that we were just like loosely discussing. And you know, the funny thing about it is it may be gone in 5 minutes.
Sure.
But that's not really the point, you know. It's not like you have more work to do now.
Right. No, yeah. It's because the videos are short and because basically I'm just going to be doing the same shit I always do.
Right.
I'll just instead of doing a thing on Instagram, I'll just do a thing on Instagram and a thing on TikTok. So I don't expect it to add to my workload at all. Mm-hmm. But I do think that that's a platform that gives a different look, a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to see what happens. And if I do that and you guys like it or don't like it, you can tell me at Tattoo with Children on IG and on Facebook at Tattoo with Children. And you can tell me on Twitter at Tattooed With because our @ is shorter on Twitter. And you can find me personally on Twitter at Hunter Vanguard. That's all one word, Hunter Vanguard. And you can find Ben on Twitter at Black Crow Hokage. And you can find him on IG at Black Crow Brother and on at Black Spot Tattoo Company on IG.
That's a lot of addresses there.
It really is. That's why I say them every time because I'm trying to remember all of them. You can find me on IG at Madara Shadow, and you can find Mike at Pain.Points. That is Pain, Payne, and at CIO Pain. Both of those are on IG. And that's been the great podcast today. Guys, it is always a pleasure on a Monday to get my week started off the correct way.
Hell yeah.
And I'm glad everybody's listening, tuning in, and chiming in. We'll talk more. The next podcast, I'm going to talk a little bit about responding to some of your feedback because it's been great feedback and you deserve a response. That's it. Love you guys.
Bring it back, but it's more than basic. It's a portion of its rap, but the core is ancient. It's supported like a pack of some observations. They're important, like the fact that we're bored of fake shit. More creative, have the floor, so take it.